Back on the show is Jimmie Rivera, who is supposed to fight this Sunday at UFC Fight Night 103. He is not fighting. Bryan Caraway has pulled out of the fight. There were supposed to be some replacement opponents, possibly, but we got Jimmie back on here to sort of set the record straight. A lot of rumors flying around. First off, Jimmie, how's it going? A little bit bummed, I imagine, not fighting this Sunday.
Yeah, a little bum. It's going okay. It's been a rough week, you know what I mean? But it's going as good as he's going to get right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you joining me here and, kind of getting fresh reaction to all this, all what's been happening. First off, I wanted to know, where were you and how did you find out that Bryan Caraway was off this card?
It was actually like last Monday, right around the afternoon, 2 weeks out. I get a call. Actually, my manager lets me know, Sean Shelby texted him or called him, let me know that Bryan Caraway hurt his shoulders, labrum or something like that, and he's out. And I was just like, you're messing with me, right? Like, it's a joke. No. He's like, no, he's really out. He's out of the fight. I'm like, are you serious? I just trained 2.5 months. Fights in 2 weeks. I'm like, this can't be a conspiracy. I'm like, I know for a fact that, he didn't want to fight me. He was telling UFC it's a bad fight. He was telling the matchmaker it's a bad fight. Jimmie doesn't have any holes in his game and this and that. He doesn't want to take the fight. And I know he was kind of forced into the fight because there's really, everybody was booked already. Lineker and TJ, Cody and Cruz. Rafael was fighting Serling, and they both lost the last fight. So usually, a winner fights another winner. So it was just me and him, and I understand why Shelby gave me that fight. And I was assuming, all right, this is going to project me to get a number one contender fight for this. And I'm like, seriously, the rankings came out. You saw that you're ahead of me now. You saw that Lineker is going to be out, so you're going to pretend like you have an injury so you can fight Lineker and then get like a title shot just because you saw TJ do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, some of what was said was that, Marlon Vera was a replacement opponent. What sort of happened there? Because it seemed like they had reported that was a done deal, and then it didn't end up happening. I wanted to get your side of things.
Just, it's simple. I jumped the gun. I said, yeah, okay. They gave two guys, and the one guy was short lefty, and I'm like, I practiced for a tall righty for like 2.5 months. I'm like, let me just go with that guy, and I jumped the gun. I told him, just say yes, yeah, we'll take the fight. And then my coach calls me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're taking a fight, right? He's like, well, let me ask you. You fight these two guys. What do you have to win? Yeah, I guess if you think about that, I started thinking about it. I'm like, if I fight these two guys, I fight someone that's, not ranked 41, who's like, 2-2 in the UFC, and then another guy who just lost his last fight, who hasn't made any big stepping stone, any big, moves on the 135 weight class, So I'm like, I got these two guys. I'm like, you're right. I'm sorry. He's like, whenever, it was my fault. It was my fault. I jumped the gun. I didn't talk to my coach about it. We sat down. We talked about it for an hour or two. He would, find any reason possible. It came down to it would have been an easy paycheck, and I didn't want an easy paycheck. I want a tough fight. I've got a 2.5 week notice to fight Marcus Brimage in Scotland. It was awesome. Went out there, knocked him out. Then my next fight was Pedro Munez in freaking Brazil in his hometown and beat him. Then my next fight is Yuri Alcantara in Jersey, where no one wants to fight. And like even Sean said, no one wants to fight this guy, but if you want to fight this guy, you could get into the rankings and you'll finally be a ranked fighter. I'm like, yeah, I'll fight that guy. You know what I mean? You're the only. You gave me like 2 other guys. I'm like, nah, I'll fight that guy. I want to get. I want the belt. I'll take the toughest fight. And then the next fight was against Caraway again, because we asked Caraway right after Pedro Munez to fight Caraway. He said no. Then we asked for Caraway again, and he said no. Caraway said no, obviously. So I have these 4 other guys: Eduardo, Dodson, Sterling, and Faber. Who do you want to fight? I'm like, easy, Faber. I'm like, it's not even a no-brainer. I'm like, I want to fight the top of the food chain. And then when they gave me the 2 replacement guys, I'm like, this is, you take 1 step back forwards to take 3 steps backwards. And I'm like, I'll wait for Caraway to get better, or if you give me a better fight than that, I want to keep propelling forward. I want to keep moving forward. That's all I ask, is keep moving forward. I took, the first three fights, I didn't really kind of have a choice for. I just took the toughest fight. They told me the last minute call. They told me about Pedro. I said I took the fight. You know what I mean? And then the Faber fight, was I took. He was the top of the food chain. It was the toughest fight. Now I'm all I'm asking, the UFC is great. I just asked to keep moving me forward. You know what I mean? Just keep propelling me forward. And when I thought about it, I sat down. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I need to just take myself out and wait for a better fight, or wait to see what happens.
And what was the reaction from the UFC? You just mentioned there that you have stepped up to the plate a number of times when a lot of other fighters wouldn't. Were they a bit more forgiving in that sense, or were they really pissed off?
No, because it was my fault. I said yes, and I should have just told him, let me speak to my coach. I jumped the gun, you know what I mean, without speaking to my coach and really speaking to my manager. I just said yes, right away, and then I realized, listen, we're not going to take the fight, and I'll put the blame on me, not anybody else. It's just, these two guys is not going to help me propel forward. It's not going to give me a contendership shot. It's not going to give me a title shot. You know what I mean? It's not going to help me at all. So there was no sense in doing it.
What about John Dodson? That was a fight I know that he had presented to you on Twitter. I saw the tweet that he came at you when you said you weren't fighting. Was there any talks there of fighting him? What was sort of the deal with John Dodson?
It was simple. It was we trained for a completely different style.
Right. Yeah.
And he lost his last fight, so it wouldn't help me at all, propel me forward. And then I didn't want any excuses. You know what I mean? He would have been like, all right, yeah. So I took the fight on 2 weeks' notice, and I lost. Now, I want to get a rematch. I want to get a full fight camp and make excuses, and then prolong me fighting more. And that was the two guys. And I'm just like, I assumed that I would probably get like Rafael or someone. They'll pull someone from the higher ranks, and the only one I saw was like Rafael and moving forward, which was, that's fine with me. It keeps moving forward, but that didn't happen. So I just, I had to, kind of step back and say, listen, I'll just wait. You know what I mean? I'll step out and you let me know what, find out what's next. You know what I mean?
So sorry to interrupt you there. So just to hear you correctly, you would have taken a fight with Rafael Sunsao if they would have pulled him from the Serling fight, even though he was coming off a loss.
Well, he would have keep moving me forward.
I see. Yeah, I mean, he's ranked high for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So he would have kept propelling me forward, and I would have been able to keep moving forward and be able to fight for the belt. But there was nothing else I could say. There was really nothing else. I looked at him like this. It just doesn't make sense. Listen, at the end of the day, I have to watch out and look for the better of me, and my coaches are there to look for the better of me, and they're to help me move forward. So if if those two fights are not going to help me move forward, why am I going to risk injury and being out? Why am I going to risk going in there and not getting anything out of it? Listen, I don't need an easy paycheck. I just want a tough fight. I want to be able to a tough fight that's going to keep moving me forward, not put me backwards.
Yeah, and I just to give a quick example of this, because I know a lot of people will be like, oh, you got to fight anyone at any time. Look what happened to Louis Smolka on the Portland card. He was supposed to fight, I forget who his original opponent was, but he didn't end up fighting him, and he fought, I believe it was Brandon Moreno at the last minute. He ends up losing that fight, and then he just fought Ray Borg and lost that fight as well. That's 2 in a row he's lost. I mean, you got to think about what fights you're taking in your career, because it can, jeopardize things. And in your case, you're coming off a big win over Faber. I mean, you're in the title picture at this point, you would think. So, you got to kind of look out for yourself. So, good on your coaches for kind of stepping in.
Yeah, that's why my coaches are there, and it was my fault not speaking to them and really sitting down and putting our heads together. And forward, it would have just been a fight to move backwards, and it didn't make sense at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Why am I going to fight to go backwards? Why not just fight to go fight to fight? And I'm like, listen, this is not how I got a family. I got things I have to pay. If I'm out and I can't work, I'm screwed out of making a living. I have to be able to, provide, and that's really important. I mean, it's super important. Plus, it just at the end of the day, it didn't make sense. You tell me, you're in the fight game. What do I gain out of winning?
You don't. I mean, if you fought Vera, I mean, it was clear as day that, not ranked that high. And heaven forbid something happens in the fight, you lose. I mean, that kills all the momentum over the Faber win. So
but let's just say I won, because he wouldn't have a training camp. The odds came out, it was -800 plus, and then it was +4 for something, for him, and -8 something. So what do I get out of winning the fight?
Well, nothing, other than keeping, that winning streak going. But no one would talk about that win. They would talk about the Faber win.
Yeah, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? I wouldn't get out of anything with the other guy either. What am I going to get? He lost his last fight, then he loses another fight. What do I get out of it? Or just excuses? I want you to fight again. It doesn't make sense. What makes sense is to fight for the belt. That's what makes sense. You know what I mean? You have 3 guys, Cody, who beat Cruz. You got Cruz that beat Dillashaw. You know what I mean? And for a fact, I know that none of those guys are in my league. I could beat those guys. People say, oh, you're crazy, this and that. I've already sparred. I have videotape of me sparring Dillashaw and putting a whooping on him. I have videotape of it. I've trained with him before. You know, he might remember, might not remember it. But at the end of the day, listen, Cruz already beat Dillashaw, Cody beat Cruz. So you see Cody beat Cruz and Dillashaw, put it at that point. Now you have Cruz and Faber who fought before Cody. When Cruz and Faber fought, Faber took down Cruz and Faber rocked Cruz. It was one shot, and they believe in the third round. When I fought Faber, the worst thing I got was I got hit in the groin and I got an eye poke. Not to mention, I fought the last round was one eye, a majority round, about 3 minutes. 3.5 minutes was one eye, and at the end of the day, all three judges had a 30-27. So where was really there was competition? Where was more competitive? Was Faber and Cruz, or Faber and me? There's definitely more competitive Faber and Cruz. Faber couldn't do a thing on me. So at the end of the day, listen, those guys, I have respect for them as fighters, but they're just not in my league. At the end of the day, I could beat Cruz, I could beat TJ. I've already sparred with TJ. I know how he is. He don't punch hard. You know what I mean? The ultimate is to fight Cody. I'm better than Cody in boxing. I'm better than him in wrestling. I'm better than him grappling. I'm all around better than him. You know, he thinks he's great. He ain't great. You know what I mean? Just like I ended Faber's career and he stopped, which people say, oh, no, you didn't end his career. He went on his own term. No, he lost to nobody because everybody thinks I'm a nobody. That's fine. I don't mind being a nobody, but I'm going to go in there and take that belt. That nobody's going to take that belt. He lost to nobody. He fought Brad Pickett so he could go out on a win. That's it. He's retired. And you saw the Brad Pickett fight. Did you see the Brad Pickett fight?
I did, yes.
How bad did he whoop Brad Pickett?
Yeah, I mean it was a one-sided fight. I mean there's no doubt about it.
How bad did he whoop me?
He didn't really. I mean that's the thing. I mean you do talk about the two fights. It was very diverse if you look at the two fights.
Yeah, I mean the worst thing I got that I didn't train for was an eye poke and a groin shot. You know what I mean? I should have known that in the past. I should have known that he was going to poke me eye, hit me in the groin to slow me down. But that ain't slowing me down. So with that said, I already took Cody's coach out. You know what I mean? You got TJ, who's another beta male, whatever you want to call him, who left the team and whatever drama. But he ain't that good because I already sparred him. I got video on him, and he ain't that good. I got Cruz, who I gave, who had a harder fight against Faber than I did, way harder fight. And then the last one's Cody. So what makes the most sense? It makes the most sense for me to fight Cody. I took his coach out, his mentor, and let me take him out now and end his career.
Are you worried at all, though, with the fact that Dillashaw has that history with alpha male, that the UFC might look at that and say, oh, we've got a storyline here, and kind of leapfrog, Dillashaw over yourself?
I already see it. I already see Cody doesn't really want to fight him. There's no money in it. He's not going to make anything from it. It's like a soap opera. It's bullshit. It's soap opera stuff. Oh, it used to be ex-teammates. Now they're going to fight each other, this and that. You know what I mean? I don't see anything impressive. Listen, when it comes down to whatever, maybe, if UFC wants to do it, you know what I mean? Respectfully understand. You know what I mean? They have to do their thing, make money, then put me against Cruz, let me beat him, and then I'll take whoever wins that fight, which I think Cody's going to win that fight if Cody and Dillashaw fought. So I'll beat Cruz, and I'll go in there and beat Cody. Or you put me right at Cody, I'll beat him right away. And so you don't have to worry about that whole drama. And then I'll beat Dillashaw, I'll beat Cruz, I'll beat the rest of them after that. I've been very quiet and very respectful and humble at the time, but now I'm just done. I'm fed up. I knew I should never took the fight with Caraway because they forced him into it. Now you see what happens, and everybody's on me. And I don't mind everybody being on me, but the truth is I'm better. You know what I mean? I have footage already sparring TJ and beating him. You know what I mean? And whooping him. Cruz, it's already explainable. I gave Faber, Faber couldn't do anything to me. Cruz had a hard time with Faber. So that's it. So the only practical, the only real thing that makes sense is me fighting Cody and taking that belt from him.
Yeah, so hearing you correctly, Cody's number one, obviously, you want to fight for the belt. Number two would be Cruz, and then Dillashaw, as opposed to Dillashaw who's coming off the win. I'll
take either one, number two, or Cruz or Dillashaw, but I want to fight for the belt. That's the ultimate goal. To fight for the belt. I know I'm the best out there. I train my butt off all the time. I work hard. I put my head down and just work, and that's it. But when it comes down to it, is that I know I could beat Dillashaw. That'd be easy, walk in the park. Cruz, you could just tell. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the style. Faber cannot do one single thing to me, and Cruz had a hard time with him. You know what I mean? And that's it. I mean, that's really it. I want the belt. I want to take Cody. Cody, obviously can't take a punch, You had Cruz going with Cody, who can't box. Listen, Cruz mixes it up well. You know what I mean? He could, throw his punches, get a takedown. But that's it. He couldn't take down Cody. Cody ain't sure hell taking me down. And I'm a better boxer than Cruz. And I'm a better boxer than Cody. Way better.
What did you, just quickly before we let you go here, what did you think of Cody's performance against Dominick? Did you feel like he was going to beat Dominick going into the matchup? What were your thoughts on it?
My thoughts were, I thought the emotions would have got to his head and he would have fought stupidly, but he fought smart. He was actually, very composed. And I think the emotions got more in Cruz's head. But at the end of the day, I'm better than both of them. And I want to beat Cody, and I want to get that fight to take his belt away.
And what did you think of Dillashaw's performance against Lineker in that fight?
He fought a bloated 25er. He fought a 25er that can't make 25, so he has to go to 35. Can't even make weight at 35. The guy has no wrestling defense. Dillashaw tried to take me down in training. He couldn't even take me down. When you sparred, 1 or 2 rounds in training, a year or two back, he couldn't even take me down. He fought someone that had no takedown defense. God knows if he could even grapple. I don't think he could grapple. Like you saw him, he couldn't even get up or butterfly sweep or anything. So he fought someone that just had, knockout power. And instead of going toe-to-toe with him, he took down. Listen, my teammate fought Lineker. My teammate in the second round put Lineker to sleep. He choked him out one fight of the night. Listen, Lineker ain't nothing special. You know what I mean? Lineker, he put some power in his punches. That's all he's got. Can't stop a takedown. He can't grapple. So what do you mean? TJ fought nobody. He fought someone that's a bloated 25er that didn't make it at 25 because he can't make weight and could barely make weight at 135.
Last question for you here. Are you keeping the diet on point? Are you staying ready? Like, are you waiting just in case something happens? And if there is an injury in that Sun Tzu Serling fight that's coming up, is that something you jump on?
If they need me to jump in, I could jump in there because I'm already in shape. I've been training. When I heard Monday I didn't have the fight, I didn't have no opponent. My opponent got hurt. I just let me just keep training. I'll keep sticking on. And I was hoping they would get me someone that keep propelling me forward, but that didn't happen. So I just, we said no, and I just kept training. I've been training Monday, I've been training Tuesday, I trained Saturday. I'm going to keep training. You know what I mean? I'm here, and it's a lifestyle at the end of the day. Listen, it's a lifestyle at the end of the day. I'm already in shape. So if that happens, sure, I'll take the fight. Or if I got to call for the title, I'm going to take that fight for sure.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to what's next for you, Jimmie. I hope it all works out. Really appreciate you coming on here, spitting some honesty and, giving some people some insight into, sort of how you match up against these contenders. Where can people get a hold of you on social media? And if you got any sponsors, any shout outs, anything like that, man, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Jimmie135 or Instagram, Jimmie Rivera. You guys can just Jimmie Rivera on 135. It's me on Twitter, Instagram. Just like to thank my sponsors, Tag Your Fight Gear and NutriBio. And, listen, at the end of the day, I know I have proof of beating Faber and and whooping TJ's butt in training. I know I can beat Cody. I just need the shot. That's it. Give this little Jersey boy a shot, and I'll go in there and I'll take that belt from him.